Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the game according to me. This is one of the famous simulcasts, I guess you could say, because not only is this going to be on YouTube, but this is going to be also on wherever you find this podcast, and there are many places you can find this podcast. If you're on YouTube, you can check the link down in the description box below to find those out. And obviously, if you're listening to wherever you're listening to this podcast, you know where you can find it. Just Google the game according, or search, I should say, not Google, search the game according to me. And this is the 100th edition of the game according to me. So I thought we would go ahead for this special 100th edition and check in on the sports, the actual sports, and what could we do to maybe make them better. In particular, we got Major League Baseball, we got the NBA, we got college football, we got the NFL. I was thinking about doing the WWE, however, I decided to keep it out this time. Even though I do talk some WWE every now and then on this podcast, I decided to keep this out. But however, if you are listening to this on YouTube, I may probably put that video in one of the corner iCards so that you will be able to check it out after after you finish listening. You're not watching this, because if you are just watching this or have this up, all you're seeing is the Game According to Me logo. So yeah, but yeah, you can check it out, and if you are a wrestling fan, check that out. And I am not an NHL fan. I don't particularly care if it could go up and, you know, be done with. I wouldn't care too less about it. So actually, it'd be probably better if there was no hockey. So that would be great. The radio show I listen to wouldn't feel the need to talk about it. So yeah. Alright, so yeah, that is what's going to happen in this episode. We are going to uh, talk about what is and what could make Major League Baseball and the National Basketball Association, the college football, and the NFL, what could be done to make those sports better. So let's start with Major League Baseball. Alright, so let's start with Major League Baseball. It's funny about Major League Baseball right now. Like, their average age, like 56. 10 years ago, their average age was 46. So they're not they're not getting younger. They're getting older. And this has been talked about for like the last 6-7 years of how do you get the average age down? How do you bring young people into baseball? And they're trying a lot of things to do that. And I don't think a lot of these are going to work. I really don't. I just think baseball is probably, if you don't catch on to baseball when you're young, you're not going to like it as you get older or anything like that. So the people who like baseball are the ones who something catches their eye and they catch on to it. Whether they're young or whether it's maybe someone like me who did not like baseball until Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire had their home run race. I can talk. Home run race of 1998, and then I became a fan of baseball. So I think something like that may have to happen for fans, particularly young fans, to join this baseball world. But I'm not. What I'm going to say right now is not to try to get young fans. It is just to make the game of baseball better. So let's go ahead and let's start. And the first thing we're doing is that we are bringing back no DH in the National League. I hate this. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I find this to be stupid. And really, I am tempted to bring back no DH for both leagues because there should be no designated hitter. There should not be. It ruins the strategy of the baseball game. It does. But I'm gonna compromise. Let the AL keep the DH. I'm bringing National League. I'm bringing back no DH, and the main reason why I'm doing that is because as a Cub fan, and the Cubs play in the National League, and they played in the National League majority of the time. When I watch the Cubs, I want to see National League baseball. So I don't watch the American League. So whatever. The only time I do that is during the playoffs. So yeah, we are there. We are taking away the DH from the NL and going back to having no DH and the pitcher hitting. That is what needs to happen. I am going to expand in the Major League Baseball two things. Now, this is something interesting because in the late '90s, early 2000s, they was even talking about contraction, right? Because they had gone to 30 teams at that point, and there was talk about contraction and whether or not it was um, if teams like Colorado Rockies, the Minnesota Twins, I think was maybe one of them, the Florida Marlins, even they had won a World Series in '97, even though they won a World Series, they were talking about, do they need to be contracted and go and is the pitching too thin? Or is there not enough pitching, not enough hitting? Because basically that was around a time when there was a lot of hitting, so there was a lot of talk about that. But now I think Major League Baseball is in a good enough place to where, yes, you could contract. And I think contraction helps in a myriad of places. I think it helps with the most things help with it are the teams. Again, I cannot stand the fact that there are 15 teams in each league, and let's make it an even number. Why are we doing odd numbers and irrelevant numbers and things like that? We'll get to that when we go to college football. Um, yeah, why are there 15? Just go ahead and add two teams, one in the National League, one in the American League, 16 teams. We can break that down then into having four divisions of 8. You can have a you can break it down however you want to break it down into. You can call it the NL. You can go back to old school, maybe go to the NL East and NL West, or the AL East and AL West. So you can do that if you want to, but it just needs to be 16 teams each division, 16 teams in each league. Excuse me. Now, somebody asks, well, what team, what places do you want to expand to? I mean, there aren't a lot of many, and you're right, there aren't a lot of many. Vegas would be one place, and who knows, there might be another team from Oakland that moves to Vegas. That's Athletics. They've been getting no fans there, and so they may move to Vegas. But I think Vegas is one spot that you can expand to. Um, no, there are a lot of places. There are two teams in Los Angeles, two teams in Chicago, two teams in New York. I don't know. I don't know if there's another place out there that can use another team. I don't think so. I think you got, you've got in Texas, right? You've got the Houston Astros and then the Texas Rangers. I mean, maybe you could say maybe Dallas, which, could be the team. Although some people may say that the Texas Rangers are Dallas's team because they're in Arlington. They play in Arlington, and Arlington is kind of where it's Cowboys play. So maybe you already have, the Cowboys. You already have the Dallas fans of the Texas Rangers. You can do that. Is there a place in New Orleans for a baseball team? Is there a place in another Florida team, Orlando? Could they hold another um, team? Jacksonville can't. I'm pretty sure that is the case. So I understand the questions about expanding, but I think it needs to happen. You have to expand to 2 teams. Let's make an even 32, 16 teams in each league. Let's get away from this uneven stuff. So once we do that, and we talked about the 4 divisions, um, then we got to do something with the schedule, right? So how are we gonna make the schedule, right? Are we gonna keep 62 games? Are we gonna keep? Are we gonna shorten it? Are we gonna add on to it? Well, we're certainly not gonna add on to it. The league is long enough as it is. We are going to take away some games. We're going to take away 7 games. We're going to make it a 155 game season. Now, how are we going to do that? Is that you're going to play each team 5 times. You're going to, so let's take the Cubs and Vincent, they're my favorite team. You're going to play all other the 31 teams 5 times. And depending on the year is what is going to depend on the things on who gets the 3-game series and who gets the 2-game series, right? So let's say something like in the odd number years, right? So in 2023, the Chicago Cubs would get the 3 home game series, and then we go on the road for the 2 games in their in their season. And the even number series in 2024, they would go on the road for the 3-game series, and they would have the 2-game home game series, right? And I'm sure there's a way that also you could do it. You could probably mix and match it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could do it where you can you can maybe do it by league, National League, or American League, or the best way to do it would probably just to pick random teams. Yeah, pick a team at random, and then pick 15 random teams, and then or yes, no, pick 16 random teams, and then those 16 would have all of the 3 home games and something like that. So it's a way to do it, but that's the way you're gonna do it. Since we expanded 32, it's gonna be it's gonna be not right to have. Like, 'cause I was thinking 6, but when you do the math, 31 times 6, you get 186. That's way too many games. It's just way too many games. And if you do 4, then you would do, that would be 124 games, and maybe that might be too little amount of games. So 155, I think, is the way you have to go. Even though I just talked about even, and you have 5 games and uneven, something like that. I think that there probably is going to be a way where you could probably do like the league, right? Like if you're the Cubs, you can have 6. Maybe you could have 6, times. You can have 6 games, 1 home series, 1 road series against your 15 teams, right? And let's do some quick math here. 15 times 6, that's 90. So you would do 90. That would be 90 games in the National League. And then you would have 16, let's see, 16 times 4 for the American League. That's 64. Actually, you know what? That's better. Then let's look at it. Then we go, that's 154. So actually, that's the way we should go about it. And I workshop this right on the spot. So there you have it. You do a home series and a road series for the 15 teams in your league, and then for the other 16 in the other league, 2 on the home and 2 on the road, you get 4 that makes it 154 games. So you have a 154 game season. We just workshopped that on the fly. You guys heard that, right? So unbelievable. 154 games, 90 at 90 for your league, and 64 for the other league. So there you have it. That was a very, very good shop. And I think I had that workshopped before, but I think forget how to do it. So I've been, like I said, I've been trying to have my stuff in gear for about what you need to do to make these leagues better. So I wrote down a lot of stuff, did a lot of math, so all this could work. But um, I think yesterday I got thrown off by the odd number, and I thought it needed to be another odd number, but that was the way to go. 154 games. The pitch clock. Now the pitch clock is coming. It is coming. So I'm keeping the pitch clock. Yeah, I think you have from when the umpire. Let's see, I'm gonna say from when the umpire or when the catcher throws the ball to the pitcher, the umpire should start the clock. And that's 15. It counts down. You're trying to get your pitch. You get the pitch that you want. Check on your runners and throw it. Right? It's 15 seconds. That's good enough. And there's also 15 seconds for the batter. If if you need to do something, do it better. I know sometimes they like to call a timeout. No, I don't think. I think that needs to. I think that needs to go away. The timeout. The timeout needs to be taken out because it's not enough because yeah. So yeah, just if you're a pitcher, right? They have that thing now on your arm if you're a catcher where you can type it in and it goes to your ear about what the pitcher, the pitch that you want and the location, right? And then it tells you slider down and in or whatever. Down and away, I guess it might be better for a slider. People don't do those sliders down and in to the opposite-handed batter. So if it says that, then okay, then that's what you do. And as a batter, yeah, you just have to get in there and hit. Stop with all the machinations, fixing your gloves and whatever else that you're doing. Apologize, I'm about to sneeze. I guess not. So yeah, the pitch clock has got to be one of the ones. And if the pitch clock runs out, if you're a pitcher, it's an automatic ball. So if it's 3-2, a full count, and you don't get the pitch off in time before the clock ends, that's going to be a ball. 4 balls, batter can take his base. Same thing for the batter. It's going to be a strike. If it's 3-2, and you're not ready for the pitch, then it's a strike. Although this is the pitch clock. This isn't a batter's clock. So you may have to workshop that and figure out something like that. But maybe, yeah. Because like I said, I don't like the fact that they call a timeout. So maybe that might be the thing. If you're not ready and the pitcher throws it, maybe you just get a strike or something like that. But there should be a penalty for the batter as well as the pitcher. So that's the big thing about that. I want to make sure there's an even penalty for the batter and for the pitcher when it comes to that pitch clock. We're also going to start later. Maybe a couple weeks later, maybe a couple weeks into April. One of the guys on the radio here in Chicago, Carmen DeFalco, give him some credit. So he talked about the first game of the season should be on Jackie Robinson Day, and I have no qualms about that. Jackie Robinson Day is April 15th, That's for tax day. Pay your taxes. So I had no problem with that. I think that is good because usually the games start. It's been starting like the first week in April, and over time, like last 15 so years, it also started sometime late March too. Yeah, that round thing where we started maybe like that last week of March, last few days of March as well. So yeah, so maybe you start April 15th. And what does that do? So and then you can still end it at the end of September. I think it should go no later than the end of September. Maybe the first couple of days of October, depending on how the schedule falls. So yeah, I think that's a good start. A later start, and then also to kind of pick it up, you get double headers in the summer. Um, June, July, maybe even into August. Maybe the weekends, Saturdays, or the doubleheader Saturdays, and and maybe that's one of the good things where it's just you get where you get the off days. You get a Friday off day for a doubleheader on for a Saturday, you know, and you don't have to worry about the rosters for that, something like that, because I've got the rosters playing too. That's another part of making Major League Baseball better. But yeah, I think later start and double headers in the summer, I think that can help you out so that you can get those 154, not 155, 154 games in during a particular time of late September into the middle of May, starting at the middle of May. And so you want to talk about like those double headers? They can, those double headers can be a bitch to pitching staffs. Well, that's why what we're going to do is that we're going to make the roster more. We're going to give you a 30-man roster. 30-man Major League roster. Yeah, 30-man roster. So hopefully you will be smart enough to carry 15, 16 pitchers. Now, there was a part of me that because the roster used to be 25. I think it's 2060, maybe 28 now. Like I said, just go to 30-man roster, but but you needed for like from the 25-man normal roster, and then those extra five pitchers would just be extra five players would just be pitchers. I thought about that, and they would be like emergency pitchers for long not rain delays, but long extra inning games and for double headers. But I decided no, just make it a full 30-man roster, and hopefully these clubs will be smart enough to do that. Now, the NFL, a couple years ago, maybe almost over a dozen years ago, actually, they changed the rule. It used to be a 45-man roster. It used to be a 45-man roster. Now they upgraded to a 46-man roster, and the reason why they did that was so that because what teams were doing was teams were making their third quarterback inactive, putting them on inactive, but having them dress so that if both their quarterbacks went down, they still would have a third quarterback that could come in and play. And then there was also that rule that if he came in before the fourth quarter, the other two couldn't play. I think they've gotten rid of that rule, which is right. Now that's what that happened. So they upgraded 46 so that they did that just so that your third quarterback could be active. And what do the NFL teams do? The dummies that they are, they most of them have gotten rid of the third quarterback altogether, and they've taken that extra 46 spot to add another player, and just knowing and teams have not been screwed by that. But yeah, there's going to be a time where somebody's going to have somebody's going to have two quarterbacks. Two quarterbacks are going to get injured, and then someone who's not a quarterback is going to have to play because they don't have a damn third quarterback. So I'm hoping Major League Baseball team players will be smarter in this scenario where I give you a 30-man roster, and I'm not going to say that five of those must be emergency pitchers. I'm just hoping you're going to be smart enough to take to take 15, 16, maybe even 17 pitchers on your roster and have it for those double headers and those long inning games, instead of doing something where you still only take, 12 pitchers and you have 18 position players. No, please don't do this in my Major League Baseball league. And to go with that 30-man roster, we're gonna add 5 more to the 40-man roster, make it a 45-man roster. So there's 45 men who are going to be on the roster that you don't have to make a decision about. You can just bring up and bring down freely as you come and go, as long as they have the options. So yeah, so there you have it. Those are my ideas for Major League Baseball. Run over through them real quick. We're getting rid of the DH in the National League, keeping it in the American League if you want it, but definitely National League, no DH. We're expanding to 32 teams, 16 teams in each league, 2 divisions of 8 in each league. 154 game season. We workshop that live as we did this recording. Pitch clock. We bring in the pitch clock, and if we don't, we're going to find a way to penalize the batters with the pitch clock, but definitely with the pitchers. If we don't get it off in time, you're going to get the ball. We're going to have a late start in the middle of April. Have double headers in the summer, so that all 154 game seasons can be done by at the very earliest October 4th, October 5th, again depending on how the schedule falls. And the 30-man rosters for the club, and then 45-man rosters for the team to bring up during September call-ups and everything like that. So there you have it. That's how I'm fixing Major League Baseball. Let's fix the National Basketball Association. So next, the NBA, right? There's something to make this league better. And this is already a great league. We're just coming off of Game 3 in the NBA Finals. Boston Celtics up 2-1. It's been a fantastic season. And the NBA is really good. It's a very good alternative. They don't have any problems with getting young folks as the MLB do, but still, it's not great. So let's go ahead and make it better. Again, we're going to expand. We're going to add 2 teams. Now, I think this one is obvious. The NBA does need to expand. They need to bring a team to Las Vegas, another team to Las Vegas. And they need to they need to add one back into Seattle. Seattle was always a great basketball city. They love the Supersonics, and it's a great sports town. They support the Seahawks and the Mariners, and they can support another basketball team. So I think you need to bring another basketball team to Seattle and a basketball team to Las Vegas. By doing that, you can move Minnesota Timberwolves to the East Coast where they should be. There's no reason why they should be in the Western Conference. And same thing with Memphis. Now, understandable that Memphis was originally the Vancouver Grizzlies. And then Vancouver couldn't hold them, so they needed to move them to Memphis. But still, there's no reason for Memphis or Minnesota to be in the Western Conference. So, we're doing that. Everything is the same. We're doing the same thing here. Once we do that, and once we get 16 teams, we're going to make 2 divisions. 4 divisions of 8. 2 in each conference. Now, with the schedule here, I had this workshop before I started recording, so we may do it live. Let's do it live, and we may workshop it again as we talk about it. But the way I had it was, is this going to be a 62 game schedule or a 76 game schedule? Yeah, and here's how to break down. A 62 game schedule is easy. You would play 2 teams, right? You would play 2 teams. You play each team 2 times. You play each team 2 times. 1 at home, 1 on the road. Makes no difference. That would just be 62 games, right? For the 76 game schedule, I believe you would play the teams in your division 4 times. Let's go ahead and bring the calculator out again. So that'd be 7. So if you're the Bulls, which is again my favorite team, you play each team 4 times. That's 28. And then you'd play the other 24 teams. Let's see, other 24 teams twice. That's 48. So I did, I guess, 72. Oh yeah, well, see, no, 76. And there you go. That's how you do it. 24 other teams you play twice. To play the teams in your division 4 times. That leads up to 76. So yeah, I was looking at 62, not thinking it was 72. But yeah, so that's how you get the 62 and 76 game schedule. I think the 76 game schedule is best. Right now they play 82, taking 6 games off. It's still enough. You know, there was some talk about, you know, and they've been debating on First Take, where, you know, this league will play 58 games, and that just makes no sense to me. No, that's, you know, it's, you know, as of right now, the best thing for them to do would be to play 66, and that's a lot easier. 66 with this 30 team, right? Because right now you play the teams in you play the 4 teams again. You talk about the Bulls, but this on the Bulls. If you're the Bulls, you play the 4 teams in your division 4 times. That's 16. The other 25 other teams you play twice. That's 50 games, and then that's how you get 66. So you know, if you're gonna get rid of games, you know, you go to 66. It's so easy. It's totally so easy to do. And in my league, and what they should do now, we're not doing these mid-season tournaments. That is one of the most stupid things you can ever think of. You know, Adam Silver is trying to be a more league, but he's doing way too fucking much. There's no sense for a mid-season tournament. No, no. There's absolutely no reason for a mid-season tournament. No. There's no reason for it. Owners need to vote no. Players need to vote no. Do not do a mid-season tournament. I don't care what type of money it brings in. We don't need that much money. So stop it. We're eliminating the play-in. The play-in game, it's even though the last couple of years it's been nice and exciting sometimes, it's stupid. Again, it's stupid. It's just stupid. There's no need for the play-in. The top 8 teams in each conference make the playoffs. Point blank, period. End of discussion. Let's not try to jimmy it up. This isn't baseball. This is basketball. You're a wonderful company with tons of future ahead of you, marketing potential and everything like that. Stop it. You don't need to do tricks like this. We're eliminating the play-in. So for the draft, we're going to make this a option. You know, right now you need one and done. You got to go to college for at least 1 year. So we're going to change this. We're going to say that yes, if you're going to come from high school, you can come from high school. But if you go to college, you need to stay at least 2 years in college. No one and done. If you go to college, you need to stay at least 2 years before you are eligible to enter the draft. But you can come out of high school or something like that. And we understand that most people are going to come out of high school with that option. But that's okay. Because I also have another plan. If you're drafted and you come out of high school, you have to spend 1 year in the G League. No matter if you're ready or not. You have to spend 1 year in the G team. All teams, I believe, have an affiliated G League team. Or if they don't, they can send players to any G League thing. I know, like the Bulls have the Windy City Bulls. So I think, and they can, you know, grab people from there, from the Windy City Bulls. But yeah, so if you are drafted from high school, you have to spend at least 1 year in the G League. that gives you the option, right? So I come out as a high school now. People still will because of the money, right? They're gonna get paid a lot more than they're gonna get paid in college, more than likely, with the new NIL. But if you come to the high school, you're gonna get paid. You're gonna have making a nice chunk of change. So people still come, but they're gonna spend at least 1 year in the G League. So I think that's a good compromise for those two. So again, you can come out of high school, but you're going to play 1 year in the G League, or you can go to college and wait 2 years before you can come out of the draft. Speaking of the draft, we're going to have an even lottery. None of this stuff where the the worse you off you are, the more balls, ping pong balls you get. No, because again, that encourages in tanking, and tanking is bad for every sport. It sucks. Baseball right now, Cincinnati Reds are tanking, you know, and it sucks for all the Reds fans. And we've seen what happened with Philadelphia. It took several years of tanking before they actually got somewhere reasonable, right, for the 76ers. And a lot of those players they took, didn't turn out. Like Joel Embiid was the only one, I think, and then that it really turned out. Even though Michael Carter Williams won Rookie of the Year, he hasn't been the same since. So it's ridiculous. So we're gonna have an even lottery for the non-playoff teams, an even lottery, and we can do the things that we can do. Maybe we can even say this: you can have a lottery for just the number one pick, even lottery for the number one pick, and whoever gets that pick, then from 2 to 16. In my name is 32, but it's from 2 to 16. It's just an order of your record. It's an order of your record. And that's the way they do it anyway. They only choose 4 now. They used to choose 3, now they only choose 4. Once they choose the top 4, everyone else falls in line for record. So that's the same way you're doing here. You can either pick the top 1, or you can do top 5, which I think is a better start for me too. You do the lottery for the top 5, and I actually think that's what it should be live, right? I think that's what happening. It should be live. Since it's an even lottery, there's not a number of Powerball balls. You should just do it live, right? You should, or even just do one ball, so that when you turn on the first one, the 5th pick belongs to the Utah Jazz. Okay, so then when you go to the 4th one, you take out the Utah. Everyone before you take out the Utah Jazz. You take out that ball, or you leave the ball in. If it comes with Utah Jazz, you can take it out, and then let another ball pop up, right? Whatever that is. So I think top 5 is good. So even lottery for the draft. And here's another one I think too. We're going back to the Eastern Conference versus the Western Conference for the All-Star game. That we done the schoolyard pick and Team LeBron versus Team whoever over these past years, and it's kind of time to, as it's been all right, it's been okay. Team LeBron is winning. He's won everyone, so it's kind of time to stop that. Some people want a USA versus the world, but there's not enough world all-stars. There just isn't. Because if you look at the all-stars from this year, right? How many were from different places? Maybe 5 or 6, maybe. And so you're taking out people who should be, because right now, all the people complain, well, this guy should have been all-star with this guy, yada, yada, yada. And then that's going to happen, and that's one of the best things about sports, you debate these certain topics. But I mean, even if you do it USA versus the world, I mean, you're really going to find out that people are being snubbed when, just because they can't make it, because you have to take 12 people from the world, and people are going to be outsiders who don't deserve it. So we're going to keep Eastern Conference and Western Conference. No schoolyard pick. No Team LeBron versus Team whoever. And we're going to also bring back the old jerseys. We're not going to have these people wearing these jerseys. No, we're bringing it back old school, like the way it was in the mid '90s and early 2000s, everything like that. You wear your jersey. And if you're the home team, you wear your white jersey. If you're the road team, you wear the color jersey. That's it. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Stop with the schoolyard pick. Stop with thinking about USA versus the world. It ain't gonna happen. So, okay, really quick to recap my topics to make the NBA better. We're expanding 2 teams, more than likely to Seattle and Vegas. Meaning we're having 4 divisions, 2 in each conference, 4 divisions of 8. We're having either a 62 or a 76 game schedule. I think a 76 game schedule is the best way to go about it. That would be the best way I think it happens. You play the 17 in your division 4 times. You play the 24 other teams not in your division. You play those teams twice. That's how you get 76. We're eliminating the play-in. That's not happening anymore. An even lottery, with you can go like with the top five, which is what I prefer, or even top 1. That would be okay with that. No mid-season tournaments. We're stopping to talk about that. That's not happening. We're bringing back the All-Star games to the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and players will be wearing their own jerseys in their All-Star game. It's just like they've done it before. None of this other jerseys and anything like that being made by the Jordan brand or whoever else. And when it comes to the draft, you can come out if you are a high school kid. But if you do come out and you're drafted, you have to go to the G League for 1 year. And if you don't come out of high school, well then you go to college. Well, you need to go for at least 2 years. And I would also be willing to put here. Something just came up, and I would be willing to say here that if you are someone who says, well, I'm not gonna go to the G League, or I'm not going to college. Either one is I want to play NBA basketball. I want to play pro basketball. Like Brandon Jennings did 1 year. He didn't want to go to college, but he went and played pro over a year. Well, okay, that's fine. But you're gonna play. If you're gonna do that, then you're going to have to wait the 2 years. You're gonna have to wait the 2 years. You're not gonna play 1 year and then try to come into the league. No. If you're gonna go overseas and play basketball, play pro basketball, that's totally fine. But you need to be 2 years from your high school graduation before you enter in an NBA draft. That's how it's gonna be. So let's just talk about that as I was saying, as I was recapping my draft stuff. So yeah, that's what's gonna make the NBA better. Let's get to college football and let's stir this hornet's nest up. Okay, so for college football, wow. Okay, how do we fix college football? Well, who knows, right? But I think here's where we start off with, right? I think what we start off with is targeting. I'm not a big fan of the thing where if you are called for targeting and it is held up in review, that you are disqualified for the game. And then even have some things where if it's in the second half, you're disqualified for the first half of the next game. I'm not a big fan of that. Here's what both the NFL and college football have gone with over like the past 5 or 6 years, right? They implemented the 2 unsportsmanlike penalties, almost like the 2 technical fouls in the NBA. So if you get 2 unsportsmanlike penalties, you are ejected from the game. I think targeting should be, it should be an unsportsmanlike penalty. So if you're called for targeting, and they review it, and the review is held up, then it is um, one, a sportsmanlike penalty for whoever did the targeting, and that goes to one. And if he already has one, and he gets that targeting one, yes, then he is ejected then. But he should not just be ejected just because he targeted. Because this game is so fast and so furious that sometimes he's not trying to go for the head, but the receiver puts his head down, and then it does helmet to helmet contact, and it's helmet to shoulder contact. So it's there needs to be some leeway there for the defense as well. So we're starting off with targeting. We're getting rid of the DQ, and we're making it an unsportsmanlike penalty, and that goes to one of your two unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. So basically, it's a it's a really good game. I think one of the things to do, and we're gonna talk about this with the NFL. I think we're gonna get rid of the automatic first down for illegal contact. Yeah, that's there's no reason for that. Illegal contact, 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down. No, we're getting rid of automatic first down. Illegal contact, defense, 5 yards, still first down, or penalty is declined, first down, whatever. We got, whatever it is. So that's what we're gonna do there. I think we're going to, because most of the times the some of the rules that the NFL takes, college football takes from the NFL as well. I'm not sure about the kickoff rule, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this with the NFL. We're going to do it here as well. We're going to move the kickoff 5 yards. We're going to move the kickoff back 5 yards so instead of from the 35, it's now from the 30. Or we're going to do the XFL kickoff, where yes, we kick off from the 35, but we're going to have that little spot where it's like where we have the return team and the kickoff team are 10 yards from each other. So then there's 10 men within those 10-yard lanes. And we're gonna have the kicker kicking off and the returner returning. So when the XFL was going on, I like that. I like that. The fact that I thought it was a safer way of doing it, and a lot of things in the XFL before COVID hit and they had to cancel. A lot of things were working in that league, and I really enjoyed it. It's a shame COVID happened and the league had to be defunct, but Dwayne Johnson and his ex-wife Danny Garcia are going to be bringing the XFL back next year, so it should be fun. I cannot wait. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do for there. Kicking it out of the end zone will be the same as kicking it out of bounds. There's going to be a penalty, and it's going to be spotted at the 40-yard line. So that's what's going to happen there. We're going to bring back the 5-yard penalty for incidental face mask. I wasn't a fan of them getting rid of the 5-yard because you have an incidental face mask. Yeah, I mean, because you're trying to grab on a physically strong player, trying to bring him to the ground. So yes, you may incidentally grab. It's not like the grab and turn. The grab and turn or the grab and pull down. Yes, that's a 5-yard penalty. But if you just put your hand accidentally on the face mask and you don't really do anything, as you're trying to go down to the collar, to the jersey to bring them down that way, then yes, incidental 5-yard. We're bringing that back. 5-yard incidental face mask penalty. So now, let's talk about it. We're talking about the college football playoff, right? So how are we going to do the college football playoff? Well, first of all, we're not doing 12 teams. Again, and I mentioned this shortly with Major League Baseball Major League Baseball. When I was talking about the uneven numbers and the odd numbers, right? Because there's well, why the fuck? I'm gonna curse here, and I'm sorry. I'll make this not safe for work. But why the fuck are you trying to make a 12-team playoff? That's so stupid. You have it right here in front of you. There's two ways to go about it. It's an 18-team playoff or a 16-team playoff. This is stop with the foolishness, right? So here's how we're doing it, right? So here's how we're doing it with the 18-team playoff. Some people say that you can rank them 1 through 8. The college football committee will rank the teams 1 to 8, and that's how you do the 18-team playoff. And I guess I would be okay with that, but I still think there are some problems with that one. There's just some problems with that one. I personally think the best way to do an 8-team playoff is the Power 5 conferences, right? Each team who wins their conference in the Power 5, they get an automatic spot. The Group of 5, the highest ranked Group of 5 conference winner, they get an automatic spot. And then we have 2 wildcard teams that the committee will check and see who are most worthy of making it into those wildcard spots. So I think that's how you go. And then when you do it that way, you can also have the bowls a part of it. In particular, the four classic New Year's bowls, right? The Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Orange Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl, right? You can have those, and you can go back old school to like having them being conference affiliated, right? So where the Rose Bowl, it would be the Big Ten champion versus the Pac-12 champion. For the Sugar Bowl, it would be the SEC champion, and they would face maybe one of the wild card teams. The Fiesta Bowl, you would have the highest Group of 5. They would take on the Big 12 champion, right? In the Orange Bowl, you would have the ACC champion taking on, or maybe the Orange Bowl, maybe it's the Big 12. I mean, the Orange Bowl, maybe that's their affiliation. Yeah, so the ACC champion will take on the Group of 5 champion in the Fiesta Bowl. The Big 12 in the Orange Bowl would take on the second wild card team. And then once you do that, and you watch those 4 games, the college football committee will reconvene, and they will then re-rank the 4 teams that won. And 4 would face 1, 2 would face 3, and then once you do that, you have the college football champion. So I think that's the way you go about it. And I think that's how you would want to do the 18-team playoff. Like I said, going 1 through 8, I guess it's okay, but it's not the ideal situation. What I'm just talking about is the ideal way you do the 18 playoff. Now, if you're going to go ahead and go large and go 16 teams, that's the most fair way to do it. Then I have no problem with that one either. But you don't go 1 through 16. No, you don't do that. Again, one of the reasons why they came with this playoff was they wanted this playoff to kind of have the NCAA March Madness feel to it. And one of the things about the March Madness feel is that you want those upsets. You want some of those mid-majors and those teams to come out of nowhere. Who was it this year? It was the Eagles or the Penguins or somewhere, right? They made it all the way to like the Elite Eight, I guess, if I can remember correctly. Came out of nowhere. They was from Jersey, and you want them to, to have a run. So we talked about in the 8-team playoff, we have the group of 5 team. So you can do that. So in the 16-team playoff, the way you get that is that you do the same thing. There are 10 conferences. The 10 conference winners get the automatic bye. And then you have these 6 wild cards. Those 6 wild cards will be, they could be from anywhere. Once again, the playoff committee will choose which 6 teams are best slated for the wild card. So I think that that's the best way to do the 16-team playoff, right? And some people may wonder, well, what happens to all your independents? Well, listen, I looked at independents. You get the big ones, right? You get Notre Dame, BYU, and Army. And there's a couple other ones too. There's like University of Massachusetts, University of UConn, New Mexico State, and I think there might be one more independent. They don't get preferential treatment, for any of these playoffs. They need to do what they need to do in the regular season to show that they are one of the in my 8-team format. They need to show that they are one of the best 8 teams so that they can make it into the playoff. Now, teams like Notre Dame and BYU are have more championship pedigree than the other ones, so they might get more of a benefit of the doubt of making it in there, being a thing. But I think you have to have the playoff committee look at each one of those things. And you need those independents to do what they need to do, and it's obviously it's going to be a lot easier for some of the lower independents to make it in maybe one of the 16-team playoffs than it would be in the 18. You're going to take if you're the playoff committee, you're going to take Notre Dame, you're going to take BYU, probably depending on who else is out there, in the pool of teams in the 18 team. Definitely Notre Dame, because you just are just going to do it, especially if they're undefeated or if they're 11-1 and that first loss is in one of the first 2 weeks. Yeah, you're going to do that. But yeah, the independents, they need to do what they need to do during the season to show that they are one of the best teams and they deserve a chance into the playoffs. And I think the playoff committee will be able to do that. So we've got some playoff things. We got some things happening. So let's figure out now, how do we determine the conference champions, right? Well, I think one of the things we're going to do is we're going to make it so that every conference has at least 12 teams. I don't want there to be 8 teams or 10 teams or anything like that. At least 12. And particularly for the Power 5. Now, they're going to have 12. The Big 12 they're going to bring in Cincinnati and 2 others I can't think of at this time, but they're going to make it when Texas and Oklahoma leaves, and they will have 12 teams. So that's fine. SEC, they have 16 teams. Big 10 has 14. Pac-12 has 12. The ACC has 14, I believe, as well. So no problem with that. Power 5 conferences, that's good. There are 2 non-Power 5 conferences that doesn't have 12. The American and the Sun Belt. And I think this is maybe a good place to where maybe you bring in a couple of those things. The American Conference should maybe think about getting, bringing into their conference someone like UMass or UConn, something like that. Same thing with the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt, or even for the Sun Belt, maybe it's because it's around that Sun Belt area. Maybe you bring in 2 teams from the FCS in that area. I've always thought that why not bring in Grambling State and Southern. Grambling State and Southern, you know, they're probably one of the two most prestigious HBCUs in all of college football. Their game they play on NBC at the end of the year, and even in fact, I even think that most of the time, you know, depending on how good they are, they will skip the playoff, the FCS playoff, to make sure that they're able to play each other in that Bayou Classic. So why not just bring up Grambling State and Southern? You can bring up Jackson State. Now that's got Deion Sanders is in, you know, down there. Georgia Southern. I actually think Georgia Southern is already in the Sun Belt or in the FBS. But there are plenty of HBCUs that are down in that Sun Belt area that would be perfect to join. And I think Grambling State and Southern is the class of them all. Jackson State as well. History of not only Deion Sanders being the coach, but the history they have with Walter Payton and everything like that. So I think that would be good. So with these playoffs and everything like that that are happening, and all of the conferences realigning and things like that, we are going to change some of these ways that these Power 5 conferences do their schedules. Because I talked about this in a prior video before. I may link that if you're watching on YouTube, watching or listening on YouTube. I may link that, put that into a corner iCard itself. But I cannot stand the way that these teams, like they put on these cupcakes, you know, in the early in the season for their homecoming team. You know, why is Clemson taking on, you know, Alberta, you know, or something like that? And why is Alabama facing Alabama A&M? Or the Citadel? That's one of the beat downs every year. The goddamn Citadel, you know, gets beat up, you know, every year for some cash. And I understand why some people may say, well, you know, you don't want to get rid of that, because it is Alabama and Clemson and Auburn and a lot of these teams. They pay good money to beat up, you know, to bring these teams in to beat them up, and then they take it, because that's how they're gonna get their money, right? They're not just gonna get what might be 30 million, you know. You might not just get 30 million, you know, out of nowhere, but they're gonna get 30 million from Alabama so that they can come in and get beat by 100. I understand that, but I think for the betterment of the college football, in particular the FBS, Power 5 conferences should not be allowed to play FCS teams. So I'm putting that in there. If you are in the Power 5 conference, you're not allowed to play FCS team. Now, if you're in other conferences, or if you're an independent, yes, you can play an FCS team. You can bring in the Citadel for your thing. You can bring in Alabama A&M. You can bring in whatever else, you know, Eastern Washington. Whatever else. You can bring them in. Now, if you're a Power 5 conference and you're not for your non-conference schedule, right? For your non-conference schedule, if you're gonna face a team that's not in a Power 5 conference, you have to face them on the road. So again, if you're Alabama, because we can't play the Citadel in week 3 before our conference schedule. But you know what? We can, you know what? That's okay. We can still beat up on Akron. So let's make a schedule Akron. Well, okay, that's fine. But you're gonna go to Akron. Akron's not coming down to you. You will go to Akron. You should still be able to beat up on Akron at Akron, but they're not gonna come down and be your sacrificial lamb there. So if you want to face Akron, you know, then you go ahead and face Akron, but it's gonna be at Akron. It's not gonna be in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa. It ain't gonna happen. The only way you're going to play a home game in a non-conference schedule is if you play another Power 5 team. And I would be willing to accept Notre Dame BYU and Army as a quote unquote Power 5 type team. So if you want to play Notre Dame, Alabama, Clemson, wherever, you want to play them at home, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. Because they are that type of class team that shows that you can do that. So yeah, you can go ahead and you can do that. Same thing with BYU, and yes, I'm gonna go ahead and say Army because I have enough respect for Army. I think Army's won national championships. Now that was back in the '60s and '50s and things like that, but they've won national championships. They have that national championship pedigree. So you can go ahead and you can do that. So that's what's gonna happen, right? So let me look here. I think I have got everything um everything fixed college football. So let's go ahead and let's recap it really quick. We're getting rid of the DQ for targeting. We're gonna review it, and if it comes back that it did target it, then that's gonna count for one of your unsportsmanlike conduct penalties in the game. That's what's gonna happen. Um, we're bringing back no automatic first down for illegal contact. We're bringing back we're bringing back the kickoff 5 yards, and we're gonna do the XFL thing where it's like the kicking team is at the 30-yard line, the receiving team's at the 20-yard line, and we're going to do that. If you kick the ball out of the back of the end zone, that's going to count for being kicked out of bounds. The receiving team starts off at the 40. To the playoffs, 18 team, or 8-team playoff, or a 16-team playoff. Um, I'm okay with it being 1 through 8. It was an 18. It was an 8-team playoff. I keep saying 18-team. It's an 8-team playoff. But I would prefer the 8-team playoff be the Power 5 conference winners, the highest group of 5 winner, and then 2 wildcard teams. If we want to go truly fair, we're going to go 16-team with the 10 conference winners and the 6 wildcards. And going back to the 8-team playoff, we're going to use the bowls as well, the traditional New Year's Day bowls, of where we'd have things where like the Big Ten team face the Pac-12 in the Rose Bowl. The ACC team takes on the Group of 5 winner in the Fiesta Bowl. The SEC team takes on one of the wild cards in the Sugar Bowl, and the ACC takes on the or the Big 12 takes on the other wild card team in the Orange Bowl. We're gonna do that. Power 5 conference teams will not be able to schedule FCS teams no more. If they would schedule non-Power 5 conference teams, that's totally fine. But you're going to go on the road to do that. To way you schedule a home team, it has to be a team in the Power 5 conference, or Notre Dame, BYU, or Army. So yeah, there you have it. That's how I'm fixing college football and the college football playoff. And now for the main event, it's the king, the National Football League. And finally, the National Football League. What can we do to make these things better? So, I talked about it in college football. To everybody here, straight off the rip, no automatic first down for legal contact. That has to go. 5-yard penalty, still first down, or decline the penalty, or whatever, second down, whatever. If the 5 yards makes it a first down, then 5-yard penalty, first down. But no more automatic first down for illegal contact. The kickoff, same thing. We're going to move it back 5 yards, and we're going to do the XFL style thing where on the other side of the field, from we're gonna have the receiving team at the 20-yard line, the kicking team at the 30-yard line, and then once the ball is kicked into the receiver to the kickoff returner, then the teams can go ahead and start blocking each other. And we're also gonna say that if we kick the ball out of bounds, it'll be 5 yards. It will be akin to the kicking the ball out of bounds. If you kick the ball out of the back of the end zone, it's going to be akin to kicking the ball out of bounds. The team will start at the 40-yard line. So we're keeping those, right? And we're also bringing back the 5-yard incidental face mask, which bringing that back to it. Okay, so that's for some other ones. Now in the NFL, there is no targeting call. There is no targeting call. So I would be okay with that, bringing in the targeting call and also the targeting review. The same thing as I said in the college football. Just bring in targeting, then review it. If it is a targeting call, then it is sportsmanlike conduct that goes to your 2 that you can have before you are ejected. There should not be any ejections or anything like that. That's what it goes to. So we're gonna have that. Their NFL TV pacing needs to change, because there are a lot of times when what happens is the team will go down, they'll score a touchdown, they'll kick the extra point, they'll go to commercial. Then the kickoff happens, and they come back ready for the kickoff. Ball is kicked off. If it's kicked out of bounds or if it's returned, whatever, then afterwards they go back to another commercial. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. You just came from commercial. You don't need to go back to another commercial. And there's some other things as well. You can have a lot less commercials, and especially after scorings and things like that, after turnovers. Like I don't get that. Someone will throw an interception, and then it's time for a commercial. No, if they do an interception. Unless this is a 10-play 70-yard drive and the ball and the interception happens in the end zone, or happens whatever, it happens everywhere. Okay, then maybe I might think about, okay, maybe you could take a thing back here. But I think after that, not only for us fans we want to see more happening, but also for the momentum has now changed. You get an interception. And what teams usually like to do is they like to come out and try to make a big play after that turnover, after that interception, after that fumble recovery. Let's keep the action on the play on the field, and not on the commercial break. So there's that. And I think one of the big things here, we're gonna go back to 16. We're gonna go back to 16 games. I'm not a big fan of this 17 game. Again, the unevenness about it. There's no reason why we need the 17 games. Bring it back to 16. Get rid of that 17 game. Don't go to 18 games. We're having 16 games. And what the final thing with the schedule, and I'm going to shout this out here, Mike Tirico, he came up with this about 4 or 5 years ago. He was talking to a Chicago radio show, Walter and Sylvie, and he talked about how it's you need 2 buys. You need your regular buy, and then you need your Thursday night football buy. If we're going to play Thursday night football, then a team should have a buy before they play Thursday night football. And I totally agree. And this is how we're going to go. We're not going to start on week 2. We're going to start on week 3. However, the team that plays on Thursday in week 3 will have week 2 off. So take this for instance, and I've been using my team, so I'm going to use my teams again. Let's say it's the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions on Thursday night football. All right, so we have week 1, all the games in week 1, and then week 2 there will be no Thursday night game. The Chicago and Detroit will have their Thursday night bye, Thursday week bye. So they won't play in week 2. And week 3 will start on Thursday night with the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. And then whoever's going to play the week 4 Thursday night game will have that week off. So, and then later on down the season, both Chicago and Detroit will have their own, their regular bye to be had. So that's how the thing is. So we're still gonna have 18 weeks, except we're just gonna play 16 games, and we're gonna have two byes: your Thursday night bye, and then your regular weekly bye. So that is it. As for anything else, listen, the NFL is pretty much perfect. I don't know if there's anything else that pretty much needs to be changed from the NFL. Um, so before I end this, I'm quickly thinking, and again, like I said, I took time to do all of these: Major League Baseball, NFL, college football, NFL. I wrote down a lot of things that I wanted to do for this special episode of 100. That was the game according to me. And so that I wanted to be ready for this and had this ready. And like I said, we workshopped some stuff with the Major League Baseball, and how many games you play. We workshopped that off live on this podcast. But I think for anything else, and we kind of did the same thing with the draft. I came up with that in a second for the NBA, where if you don't want to go to G League, but you don't want to go to college either, you still have to wait two years off of your high school graduation before you can enter the NBA draft. So we did that off the dome as well. But I think pretty much, as I'm looking at it, I think that's it for the National Football League. So let's recap. No automatic first down for legal contact. We're bringing back the 5-yard incidental face mask. The kickoffs are going to be moved back 5 yards from the 35 to the 30. And we're going to do the XFL thing where we're going to have on the other side of the field, on the other half of the field, the receiving team line up at the 20, the kicking team is lined up at the 30, and then once the ball is received by the kick returner, they can be able to go at it and block each other. If the kicker kicks the ball out of the end zone, it's going to be akin to kicking the ball out of bounds, out of the back of the end zone, I should say, and kicking it out of bounds, and the team and the receiving team will start at the 40-yard line. Talk about the NFL pacing teams that needs to get better. Stop taking all these commercial breaks, things like that. We're going to go back to 16 games, 18 weeks, two buys, your Thursday night football bye, and then your regular team bye. We're going to have the targeting review, bring that from college in. You're going to call it, and then if it is targeting, it's going to be an unsportsmanlike penalty. Going to one of your two unsportsmanlike penalties before an ejection. No automatic ejection for targeting. So yes, that is it for the NFL football team, and there you have it for everything. Fixing, making Major League Baseball, the NBA, college football, and the National Football League better. So let's close out these outros here. If you're listening on the podcast, wherever you found your podcast, make sure that you subscribe and you get notifications of when I put out new podcasts. You can go out. If you're listening to this on Anchor FM, make sure you go to Anchor. Make sure you go to there and you support your boy if you feel like it with monetarily. Three things, 0.99 cents, $4.99, and $9.99. Or again, you can just support me by sharing the podcast and reviewing it and everything like that. That's also well. I also have Patreon, patreon.com/AJTRIP. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you'll be able to determine what you would hear on my other podcast, The Word According to Me. Check your favorite podcastings, because I'm sure The Word According to Me is on there as well. What you will see on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTrip. And what you will see me, video games I play on Twitch, as I am back to now live streaming on Twitch. And there has to be games that I have. It can't just be in any games, I can't do that. I'm sorry. But the games that I have, you'll be able to choose what games I play on Twitch. If you are a gamer, you like to watch people play games. So yeah, you can do all of that. For those of you guys watching on YouTube, post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about my thoughts of how to make all of these sports better. Do you agree with some? Do you don't? Do you have your own ideas? Post them down in the comment section. Make sure you click the notification bell on YouTube so that when I put out a new YouTube video or when I go live reacting to the wrestling that I love to do, you can make sure that you can go there so that you get the notifications to your phone, to your tablet, whatever. They come up and you can go and watch the YouTube video. You can join or something like that, or you can even do like this, because later on in the year when I start doing the football podcast in August, some of those, a couple of those are also going to be um, simulcast as well as we go through the predictions of the pro football, of college football, and we got some other things. And then towards the end of August as well, as we're gonna talk about maybe some of the power rankings in the NFL. My first ever power rankings to start the NFL. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that as well. All right, and we're gonna be doing that for a simulcast. So like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast. And as always, thank you guys for watching and listening, however you are taking in this podcast. It is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.